You're watching Single Process with Joe and Bob. We created this video series to help you navigate the difficult process of divorce, and we hope this helps you on your journey. Our episode today is on drug testing and monitoring as part of the divorce process. I think the scary thing here is, like, if someone's been drinking, I can tell.
You can tell.
I can tell, you know, they're slurring their words, they're not walking a straight line. But I think drugs is just sometimes a hardest sign to read.
Totally, especially with prescription drugs on the rise. Like,
Right.
you could legitimately be on a prescription and still be high as a kite. So
Right.
I think it's a scary one. If somebody's watching your kids, how do you make sure they're in the best frame of mind? So
I
you're
agree.
So luckily we have Stephen Paymer with us. So Stephen Paymer founded Paymer and Associates, which is a drug testing and monitoring company that works with individuals and families, which is kind of unusual. So he started as a social worker, and in the last 10 years, he's helped literally thousands of families. So thank you for being with us.
Hi,
Thank you for
Stephen.
having me.
So start us off. How do you know if somebody is using? It's scary.
Yeah, how do you even go down the road of monitoring, you know?
It's not easy unless there's a clear and obvious history. It's not very obvious. There are some signs that are important to watch out for, such as radical changes in behavior, lying. Now, certainly that could be attributable to something else other than drug use, but it's certainly one of the telltale signs. Money missing.
Money missing, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Gotta finance it somehow.
That's totally true. Erratic behavior, too.
Erratic behavior, sleeping a lot, going from being very kind one moment to being very anxious and upset and angry the next.
Yeah.
Back and forth like that. Never really being, I call it being either here or here, but never right there in the middle.
So if you're going through a divorce and you suspect that someone's on some drugs, what can you do about it? Do you petition the courts? Do you try and get them to go voluntarily to your service?
Well, of course, it's always great when somebody voluntarily says, hey, I have a problem and I need help.
Can't imagine they would.
However, yeah, that's certainly the exception.
The difference is with alcohol, it's legal and you have a problem, but this is illegal, so no one wants to really admit to breaking the law.
Unless it's prescription drugs, but okay.
Yeah, and so you have a lot of issues where the denial is so strong.
Yeah.
It's incredible. In fact, if you'll indulge me in a very quick story, which I think identifies the denial aspect of this, my father was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer 25 years or so ago, and I moved in with him. One of my motivations was certainly I wanted to take care of him, but I also wanted to be close to his pain medication. I was way ahead of the times. I tell my wife today I was a trendsetter. So anyway.
Yeah, I watch Nurse Jackie. I know that's like, some people, that's what they do. They have to get close to the ill.
If one of my friends broke his leg, I was the first one there with chicken soup every time.
So how do you test for this then? What can you even do? Because like I hear kids say all the time, like, we smoke weed because you can't detect it. So if they get stopped.
Yeah. Well, marijuana, thank goodness, is one of the easier drugs to detect. But we have three basic methods that we use for drug testing. We use urine testing. Okay. We use hair testing.
So what do you mean by hair testing? I pull someone's hair out in their sleep and bring it to you?
Unfortunately, it's not as CSI-ish as people like to think. In fact, I often say that's the worst thing that ever happened to me because we literally have to cut about 200 strands of hair.
Oh.
Now, that being said, I could take 10 samples from each of you and it would be unnoticeable.
Okay.
It's aesthetically, it's irrelevant.
You're not left with a bald spot.
Yeah,
you
need a certain amount in order for the labs to process the sample.
Okay.
The reason hair testing is such a valuable tool is because it cannot be tampered with. There's really no effective method of tampering with your hair.
Unless you shave your head.
Unless you shave your head.
Like Britney Spears.
Certainly. If you get rid of all your hair, then there's nothing that we can test. However, now we can do fingernails. Oh. It's all keratin, so we can do fingernails now.
Okay.
But if I pick my fingernails, most people I know do also.
Yeah.
So it can't be tampered with, and so it's a
pretty foolproof test.
It's a pretty foolproof test, and it also gives you a much larger window of detection than urine testing does. Urine testing will give you, depending on the drug, maybe 3 to 5 days of a history.
You got to know what you're testing for on urine.
You have to know what you're testing for, and it's important. It's important that somebody in my position knows what it is that we're looking for. I have, for instance, cases where there's suspected steroid use. Well, steroids are not going to be in a typical drug test panel, so we need to know exactly what it is that we need to be testing for.
Okay.
And how quickly can you get these results back?
Usually about 2 days.
Okay.
Really? Okay. Yeah. And they're admissible in court?
Yes.
Everything's good. Okay.
Yes, as long as you use the proper laboratories, which we certainly do, accredited laboratories.
Okay.
Then you can walk into a courtroom with these results, and you have somebody. The thing is, getting a drug test done is not that easy, and it should be. We should be armed with all the information we can get.
Yeah.
And again, with denial being such a large part of this entire of the disease.
Yeah.
We need the information. If we don't have proper information, we can't resolve the issue.
Well, plug for your company. There just aren't many facilities that test individuals and families. A lot of corporate places test for this stuff. But I think what you're doing is really amazing. So.
And that's one of the things we wanted to do, was make this easy, where mom could pick up the phone at 8:30 in the morning and say, I'm worried about my son, and we can have him in there that same day.
Awesome.
And know what's going on. Even if we're just ruling things out.
Even if you're just ruling it out.
That's right.
I say when in doubt, make sure.
Rule it out.
Particularly if there are kids involved.
Great. Thank you. Thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
So for more information on how to reach Paymer & Associates, log on to singleprocess.me.